You want to go to this race? Don't be Singapore. Ha ha. Ha ha, Tim. It's Singapore. We're here. And
very strong economy in Singapore.
Very strong economy. Very, very wealthy place to be. Apparently, it's absolutely stunning. And it is one of the most challenging races on the calendar, Tim, because of the physicality of it. Now, our racing simulator does not have that type of humidity, I would say.
Well, I don't know. It's pretty hot in here.
It can get hot in here. Tim's been in here practicing. So why don't we go ahead and kick it off?
Can we turn the air conditioning?
It's on. It's just not very good. Okay. So let's get out on the track because, I think what a lot of people liked about the last time we did one of these is you slowed down and kind of talked about some of the trickier parts, what drivers need to be looking for. So, let's do that a little bit here. Obviously, we can't do every corner on this course, otherwise we'll be here a couple hours. But let's talk about the trickier areas that we're going to be watching out for this weekend as the drivers take to the track. And this is one we'll just say straight up, Red Bull has not done well at. And so they're on a bit of a hot streak right now. If you're Laurent Mekies, if you're Max Verstappen, what are you looking for this weekend?
Just to try and keep pace with the McLarens if you want to kind of stay in this championship fight. This is going to be McLaren territory. We'll explain more as to why it will be McLaren territory. But this could also be a weekend, Adam, where the McLarens try to put some daylight between themselves and Max.
Yeah, so let's have a look at this track here. Obviously, a night race, which is always so cool. And Tim, I got to ask you, as a driver at night, I know it's obviously the course is kind of lit up, not like Le Mans where it's it gets literally dark. But night races, how are they different from a day race other than your schedule?
Honestly, to be perfectly honest, that's it. This is just your schedule.
So it's body clock.
Yeah, like these lights that they use, and people may not know this, but they're literally like this big.
Oh, really?
And there are thousands that are placed and scattered along each part of the track, but they are so bright that it feels like it's daytime.
Okay.
So it lights everything up. They're really, for the driver, it's good visibility. So there's nothing that would get in the way of that.
No
as
sun
a
in your eyes,
spectacle,
that sort of thing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
As a spectacle, though, it's incredible.
Oh,
like it's
the
really,
best.
really cool to see a night race, especially here in Singapore. But let's start off with turn number one. Obviously, we'll just pretend we're on a push lap. And what are the finer details? One of them is trying to get the rear end to kind of swing out a little bit under your braking so you can tackle a part of this curve. Now, the drivers aren't going to be able to take too much of it, but they want to be able to take enough to be able to sort of straight line turn number 2 here. And you can pretty much, in the F1 car, take about this much curbing at this track here, keeping that left-hand wheel just outside of that white line that you see in front of us here. And you can straddle this, but you can also keep accelerating as you're heading up to turn number 3. This is a pretty hard, sharp brake down, maybe a downshift from 4th gear to 2nd. But the big thing, Adam, is trying to get out of here without generating a lot of wheel spin, because tires are going to be a big talking point for this weekend on a quali lap, because the soft tire that they're using here is one of the softest compounds that they're going to have. The heat that's going to be generated at this track in these tires is going to affect you later in the lap.
Got it.
So if you're going to hammer the car coming out of here, which you probably could do,
yep,
you're going to generate a bit of wheel spin, but it's also going to up the tire temperature, and that's going to affect you later on in the lap.
Got it.
That will play a role when we get to a lot of the twistier bits. So it's always good to squeeze the power on, get up through the gears, and as we're coming down towards turn number 5 here, again, you can take a bit of this curb, but you'll see the drivers are going to come all the way out to this wall as they keep accelerating, again, using all of the road, which is really important, especially at a street circuit, trying to use all the road. There's going to be points where there's going to be places where you want the car to just sort of flow into the corner, like through here. This is probably 3rd gear. They're going to want to let the car come out to here, making sure not going all 4 wheels off. Straightforward 90-degree turn. Nothing really special here. Again, the exit, just making sure you're easy on the gas. Again, coming up to another sort of 90-degree left-hander, squeezing on the throttle, getting a good exit because this is a nice long straightaway. But as we come up to turn number 10 here, this is going to be This is going to be sort of McLaren territory where it's going to start. Because what's going to happen is when you're coming up to turn 10 here, you're getting in, and the drivers will start to accelerate around here, and the rear of the car kind of swings out a bit. And it's sort of like if this were the corner and this were the car, it kind of does one of these.
Right.
Like you kind of want to be accelerating while you're kind of bouncing around it, not turning the wheel too much. Because when you come in, one steering input on the steering wheel, holding it there all the way around until it's time to quickly change directions for this right-hander. So this is, you're going to be sharp stab of the brake and turning. You don't want to be braking while the wheel has this type of lock in it. You want to make sure you're braking while the steering wheel is either straight or starting to go straight to right. And then you're squeezing on the power. Again, this is really slow speed stuff, but quick change of direction, left to right. This is really McLaren territory through here. And again, you're coming in through here. Steering wheel is going to have lock in it as you're going to come up to the hairpin turn. I believe this is 13. Downshift in the second. And again, remember when I said about the tires generating a lot of heat in them? This is one of these turns where if you've generated too much heat, you're going to really screw yourself on the exit. So second gear coming in, carry a bit of speed, and just feather the throttle on as you're coming all the way up towards the wall. And just squeeze it on and then go up through the gears. Because if you hammer the gas, you're going to spin the rear tires and you're probably going to spin out.
So I guess, one of the things that it's funny, this part of the year, people should be confident in what their car is, even if their car isn't that good. But a lot of drivers still aren't because the cars, a lot of them stopped development a few races ago or, half a season ago. And one of the things that like Daniel Ricciardo, when he stepped into a McLaren, he never got used to was their brakes. So how important is confidence in your ability to brake around a course like this?
Yeah, it's big time important because there's lap time to be gained, like we talked about in Azerbaijan. But there are some interesting corners like this section coming up here where, you want to brake, but you don't want to brake too hard because you don't want to kill all of your speed.
Right.
Because with this next section that's coming up it's very flowing and you want it to be a fast flowing section. So we'd come up to it. This is probably about 7th or 8th gear, hard on the brakes. You're going all the way down to about 3rd gear. You're going to swing it in, take some of this curb. You're carrying speed, and you're just going to squeeze on the power and drive it straight towards the wall. Here, it's fast corner. It's just a downshift. Take a bit of that curb, and then it's flat out all the way through. Coming up here, again, right, you don't want to be too hard on the brake, but you want to make sure you're slowing the car enough that you can get a bit of that curb, come in, brake.
How does the repeated catching of, especially of that first corner, how does that affect your floor?
It does a little bit. You have to, some of these curbs that are here, I've noticed with the game, and it is like that in real life a little bit, is the fact that some of the curbing you can take, some of it you can't. Like this right here, you can't take this curb.
No.
This is gonna really mess you up.
Yeah.
This one in particular. So the 90-degree corners, don't expect to see these guys getting up on here.
Because that could pop the whole side of the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It'll just bump the car out too much where you're going to ruin the lap and the potential performance of the lap. Could also send you into the wall depending on how much speed you're taking into the turn as well. But the drivers will know that when they do their exploratory laps, walking the track and stuff like that. They'll have seen all this stuff. So it's a great question. This is a great track to experiment with. What kind of curbs can we take? What kind of curbs can't we take? How much of these curbs can we take? How much of these curbs are going to help the car? How much of them are going to really...
Right. Now, before we wrap up here, some people describe this and Jeddah and some other of these street circuits as basically Monaco but longer. How easy is it going to be passing, and how important is Saturday qualifying?
Yeah, it's going to be extremely important come qualifying. It's a very difficult track to pass on, even with the new remodeled section that they've done here. It's going to be really, really hard. There's not a ton of passing potential you can do here. So qualifying is just going to be super important for these guys on Saturday. And it's also really fun to watch. These guys really At this track, it's like Monaco, only faster.
They throw it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These guys like attack this racetrack. It's pretty awesome.
Well, Tim, you know what? We'll get back to the show, but thank you so much for watching. And Tim, thank you so much for breaking it down.
Problem.
Don't be Singapore.